and we're getting. They're very, very receptive to that. They're very excited about it.
So what are the steps? I'm an agency. I just heard about you.
Yeah.
I am a little afraid about the process. I want you to walk me through the process. Do I call you and say, hey, can we sit down and kind of tell me about it? Do you tell me how to do the spin? Do you introduce me to the ad networks that, you tell me where I can go and have transparency? What are the steps?
Yeah, I mean, the display advertising space is extraordinarily tight and built on relationships and working in collaboration. So there's going to be multiple players involved in the entire process. So an agency could call us and say, one of my advertisers, I have a big brand advertiser, and interested in using your data to run a campaign for the next 60 days. How do we get started, right? That's your initial question. So we can do a number of different things. We have a lot of models that we've already built from all of our experience, all of our analytics platform, all the data we have. So we might have a model already built that might fit their advertisers' criteria. Or we can work with them and the advertiser to build a custom model for them. Now, that's the first step in the process. That doesn't mean there hasn't been a single ad impression bought that hasn't targeted yet. That's just the initial step. Building that model, figuring out who do you want to target, who do you want to see this ad, what types of people. Then do they want to work? Do they just want to do a buys off the exchanges, off of Google Exchange, off of Right Media? If that's the case, then we've got partners, demand-side platforms like Trigit, who I just did a presentation with, that see all of that exchange-traded inventory across hundreds of thousands of publishers, and have access to our data. So we can pass that audience group that we built with the agency and the advertiser to Trigit and say, Trigit, whenever you see somebody that falls into this audience group, bid on the ad, and then if you win that bid, show this advertiser's ad for them.
You have a good relationship with Trigit.
Very, yes.
If possible, we'd like to interview them during if they're here. If you could maybe tell your buddy and see if look and see what openings we have, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think he's planning to come down here this afternoon. So, yeah.
Well, it just sounds. It seems to me you're in a great place when the only reason you're not doing 10 times better is because people don't know about you.
Yeah, the advisor business is we've been running for about 6 or 8 months now, so still relatively new. Especially, it's very new to this particular part of the industry, the lead gen sector. Because like I said, they've always been focused on buying search, and they've never really thought about buying display because they don't know how to buy it. They don't know how to buy it targeted. And they haven't had the capability really until the last 6 or 8 months. And at the same time, all these demand-side platforms, bidding platforms, and the exchanges having the ability to make their inventory biddable, it's all happening at the same time. So it's a very, very exciting time to be us in this space. It's sort of a real confluence of scalable, accessible inventory and data, and we're right in the middle of it as a data provider.
Do you have time? Is it scalable in the sense that it takes time to bring people up to speed and explain them what's going on, and you really are just introducing them to the different networks because you're not really the network?
Yeah.
You don't have anything seamless like we give you the spot and you run it.
Yeah, so the agencies themselves, the holding companies, so like the WPPs and the IPGs, they've got groups within those holding companies whose sole focus is working with all these demand-side platforms. So they're very well versed in what we're doing, what the demand-side platforms are doing. They've had to be because it's the way this part of the business has gone. It's the real-time bidding with data, targeted data, is the future, and the future is now. So the agencies they understand how to do it. They understand how to buy, through real-time bidding platforms.
But if there's a company that wanted to come in, an agency wanted to come in and make their mark introducing this new world, is there still a class of brands at a certain level that don't know about this, that aren't using all the demand side and all the exchanges?
I'd say there's a lot of brands that, I wouldn't say there's a lot of brands that don't know about it, but I'd say a lot of brands that are still in a wait and see mode. They want other people to dip their toe in because it's still a shift from what they're comfortable with.
So there's still room for evangelists in the field to go in and use knowledge to go pick up media buys.
Right. Yeah, so you have to have the good relationships with the advertisers already. That's a key first step, which we do as a company that's been around for 16 years and with over 1,000 clients. We have great relationships with lots of big advertisers. Now, we haven't done a lot of advertising type services for them previously in some cases, but when you have C-level relationships, it's easy to get to the right people. And then the message is it's very straightforward. It's like, we can help you find millions of people that represent your best customers? Wouldn't you want to find them and try and grow your customer base or retain your current customers?
Seems like it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. So it really is. So it's a pretty straightforward
That should be your tagline. It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. I think I might use it.
I recently saw a piece with Sergey Brin being interviewed by John Battelle, and they were asking about the future in display and Google get into display and why would anybody want to be in display? No one looks at it. The click-throughs are so bad. Yeah. And he said, well, you know, when we first got into search, it was remnant. It was like, what are you doing that for? Who's interested in that? And he said, I believe that display is going to be the same way.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not saying CPMs are going to hit 100 anytime soon, but we're moving in that direction.
Yeah.
What do you see happening as you know, another 20, 30, 40 billion starts pouring into the space?
I think I think the sky's the limit, honestly. I think there's going to be the brand dollars. Once big brand starts seeing how measurable and how effective it is to target their audiences online, I can't see them going back to some of the other media.
If you had a challenge, or if for whatever reason you decided to strike out and you were going to have an agency or media buying firm, knowing what you know, could you build some buys? Could you go to brands and get some spending? Go to agencies and get some spending?
I believe I could. Yeah, because I know how the agencies need to buy, whether they are doing it or not. I already know what the future is because it's right in front of us.
The future is now.
The future is now. I mean, the classic worldview of, hey, I got to buy off of the CNN homepage to find my audience is passé. There are hundreds of thousands or probably millions of websites that have ad inventory available. Just because I go check the news on CNN.com first thing in the morning or go to my Yahoo homepage doesn't mean I'm not going anywhere else on the internet. I'm still the same person with the same attributes. And the ability to find me or someone like me anywhere they are is what's so attractive now for advertisers, because they can find their audience no matter where they are.
So one of the issues I see is that it's dumb to be spending your money offline in many cases. So you come in and you give YouTube $1 million to show your video on their homepage. Again, it's easy.
Yeah. You're
going to make a $150,000 commission. You don't have to scratch your head much, but that's probably not the best place to spend your $1 million.
Yeah, there's always going to be a place for the big publisher buy like that, like, you know, with a YouTube, with a CNN. I don't want to say that no one's going to advertise on them, but to rely solely on the big premium publishers to get your messaging out to the internet population doesn't make any sense.
70% of all dollars flowing across go to 10 publishers, according to Ad Age. That surprise you?
No, that doesn't surprise me. But 90% of the impressions are outside of all this. So
how does that make sense? 90% are not in the top 10. 70% of the money is going to the top 10.
Right.
That pattern, again, is agencies taking the easy route,
yeah,
making their buys, making 7 calls, and they're done.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I'm a premium publisher, right, I want the status quo because I've got big brands that are competing for my inventory, which is, when there's competition for inventory, the price goes up. So as a premium publisher, I can command a very, very high price point on my homepage, on my top pages within my site.
What is high? What do you think high is?
I think, upwards $20, $30 CPMs for a lot of sites on some premium publishers is not unusual.
And as the tide rises,